Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Me and Molson Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Me and Molson Zia, double the expense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by A Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, including 30 exquisite paintings, King David Psalms. Check out The Sweet Psalmist on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. And brought to you by Sensei Swing, Eric Diamond's latest release, All of Me. New music coming soon, ericdimemusic.com. Follow on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and more. Check it out today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who is a niche translator, editor, proofreader, and co-owner of a legal translation service. It's gotten popular. He began in 1993 attending medical school and was asked by a professor to translate pieces of research papers to English. Later began post-grad at University of Bath and went to Spain on a scholarship. And he's a freelance medical translator and business strategist, leveraging AI to optimize productivity, build freelance brands and broad shifts affecting the small business sector and having an impact on AI. And his company is called Entrepreneurial Translators, Medical Translation and Editing. So if you want something translated, this is the guy right here. And no need to translate. This is in English, by the way. Live, ladies and gentlemen, plus dudes in beautiful downtown Madrid, Spain. You multi-talent niche translator, editor, proofreader, co-owner of medical legal translations and entrepreneurial translations, the multi-talented Jason Willis-Lee. Jason, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Mike. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the invite.
Well, great to have you aboard as well, too. So you're a niche translator, editor, proofreader, co-owner of medical legal translations, and also you're part of Entrepreneurial Translators, which is medical translation and editing. You began in 93 attending medical school. You're asked by a professor to translate pieces of research papers to English. And you later began a postgrad at University of Bath. You later went to Spain. You're a freelance medical translator to business strategist and specialize in leveraging AI to optimize your productivity, build freelance brands, and broad shifts affecting a small business and the impact of AI on translation, interpreters, copywriters, and more. And before getting all that, Jason, tell us how I first got started.
Yeah, thank you. So as you said, I was studying medicine in Strasbourg for a few months, and a French professor just kind of got me to write his articles for free in English. That's how it started. And a couple of years later, I was out in Spain, and then several years later, I specialized in niche fields. You got to niche down, Mike, in my industry. The more niche, the better. And I do clinical trials, I do medical reports, and I do research articles. So yeah, that's how I'm still staying relevant and creative. Had I not studied medicine, Mike, I'd be down and out. I mean, the tech wave has been so, as you know from where you are, it's been so impactful on every industry, including yours, I'm sure. And it's tough to stay competitive and relevant, but here we are, doing our best.
Mm-hmm. And plus, back in 93, you have to worry about AI, the internet, and everything else. It was all simply, what was it? Tape players, cassettes. You had, what was it? Stenography, dictaphones, even pen and paper. Of course, you had to listen on phones. It's, what the person is saying. And sometimes that's a challenge as well, too. Having those devices, and even while at the age of cutting out filters or even, trying different what was it, closed captions, trying to make it a lot easier to translate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, 30 years ago, it's unheard of. I mean, I was using cassette. I had a Walkman. I was walking around listening to, I don't know, Kylie Minogue or Jason Donovan on a Walkman. I was using cassettes, as you said, and you remember how we used to rewind the cassette with a pencil or a pen or something. We
I
would load our
remember that. I still do that these days. You got to impress people, just like putting a needle on a record and turning a quarter speed so you don't go woo like that, or a cassette go like that. So that's how you impress people. It's like, this is how you really do it. So
I think if we do that, that kind of dates us. It tells people how old we are, Mike. So I'm 49, just about to turn 50 in a few months' time. So I need to keep rolling for another 5, 10, maybe 15 years, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, basically, I look at AI as a form of leverage and productivity. So I teach translators how to just enhance their productivity with AI. The AI is good. It's obviously pretty accurate and pretty good, even for medical. It's getting more accurate as we speak, but it needs human supervision, Mike. So you've got to have a human curate the machine generated output. That's essential.
And very essential as well too that you got the new technology, and there's also transcription services like Rev, and I think there's a couple others out there. But basically, like you said, you have a niche in medical and everything. What else stands about your company that sets apart from the rest?
Well, I think we help people to upskill, Mike, and we lean into personal branding. So we help people really talk about themselves as founders and their own values and their own hobbies. That's what the trend is these days. It's less business brand, more personal brand. So I need to know, I would want to know about you as a founder of your company, and anyone who comes to me for consultancy, I really look at their assets and help them. And it's basically micro entrepreneurship these days. It's basically upskilling. Obviously, you have to upskill. You have to use the AI as a tool. I don't think AI will ever replace human translators. It will just change the game and change the relationship with the clients. But it's B2B selling, Mike. People still buy from people. So however much of a tech wave there is, this P2B selling is very important. So relationships is still, you will never buy from me or me from you without the relationship. That's for sure.
And plus, I also noticed you have a book that's called "How to Find More Direct," and I'm trying to see what it says. How to find more direct clients, and more about the book as well too. I just realized that hey, you got a book out there.
Yeah, fantastic experience last year. I self-published a book, and I hope to get a second edition out because my thinking on this topic has changed. But it's essentially talks to most translators work with agencies, Mike, and their conditions are not so great as working with direct clients, taking the middleman out. So I help them lean into their personal branding, lean into their negotiation skills, generate leads. It's all about everything comes downstream of lead generation. If you're not generating leads, how are you going to make sales? Pretty difficult, right? So that's basically what the book talks to my audience of translators, copywriters, editors, interpreters, maybe graphic designers, any freelancer interested, any creative. So yeah, great experience with the book, and the book's not perfect. Hopefully, it can be improved further, but having fun. Just getting something out is nice, and having fun going to events and talking about the book and doing talks around that topic, Mike.
Now about the book as well too. Did you write that exclusive yourself, like say on a laptop, or did you have Chat GPT or AI help you with that book?
No, that is a 100% human written book. So there are tools that do that. There is a nice tool called magicbook.ai, which is a tool just brought out by Daniel Priestley, I think, in the UK. So there are tools that help authors do this. You can bring out a book very quickly, as long as there's human input, Mike, as long as there's human editing, human proofreading, as long as there are stories. If there are no stories, I mean, the machine is probably not going to tell a story unless it's extremely well programmed. We love stories. We connect emotionally to stories. So, I'm all about storytelling. I have a lead magnet just on storytelling, which is at the website /storytelling. And people can do that. So yeah, it was a great experience. I think it's great for building trust. It's great for building authority and credibility to your audience. And if you go, people just, oh, he's got a book out, and if people have read your book, they can just connect to you more easily, see what you're about, see your values, and see what your ideas are in business.
And what percentage would you say that AI is currently correct and accurate right now? It says AI still in the work, Chat GPT and everything. What percentage would you say that AI is accurate? Getting
Yeah,
up
for
to
my
100%.
industry, that's a great question. I mean, I can't give you an exact figure, but I would say that I mean, let's just say 5, 10 years ago, I wouldn't even look at machine output. I wouldn't dream of editing it, doing an edit. And now I don't have a choice. I have to look at machine output every day. So I would say it's pretty, let's say 75 to 80% accurate, but that last 20% is the reason, humans are still employable. We have the relationships. We do things. We can just curate the materials a lot better. We can adapt to. One thing I would say, Mike, is that you can use AI to do sort of to map out customer journeys in a way that was different or difficult to do before. So based on the data that comes back, and I'm all about asking the market what people need, and positioning yourself as a go-to authority and a solution provider. I think you can map out with the AI a much more interesting customer journey, which is, I think, something to be happy about.
And do you think in '93, if AI was around or any computer aids and whatever else, do you think you would jumped on that opportunity back in '93 if AI were around then?
Oh, that's a great question. I probably need the DeLorean to go back in time, Marty McFly to take me back in time. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't I'm not the most techie of people around now, and I remember at university, I think I learned how to use Microsoft Word on a computer, probably around 95. So just as I was at university, the internet was born, and we were, 94, 95. I think email and internet really came into the fore. So, but yeah, if I could go back in time, one thing I would say to my younger self is you need to get more clued up about tech. I wasn't aware of the tech waves that we would see in the next 30 years, and now I'm, approaching a different phase, different season of my life. I wish I'd looked at tech sooner, and that's something I think the younger generation probably they don't have this problem because they've kind of grown up with devices. I mean, I have two children, 17 and 15, and they have their iPads and they tell me about things, that I don't really understand. So, but yeah, I'd love to go back in time and just give my 20-year-old self a kick in the, kick in the pants and just, get more techie, get more clued up with tech.
I also thought about this too, that you're in medical school, and if the professor did not come to you, do you think you would have still continued on medical school, and do you think you would have gone through it, or you have gone to something else? It
Ah,
just
that's
made
a
me
great
think.
question. Yeah, I mean that French rheumatology professor came to me on a 3-month Erasmus, and that was a turning point in my. I later wrote to him and I said, "Hey, I actually changed my life, my career path because of you," and I offered him my services. Sadly, he didn't write back, but yeah, he was an important person. No, I mean I was unhappy in clinical medicine for other reasons, so I was looking to get out. So once I found scientific translation, which has been my bread and butter for the last 25 years, I think I was happy to change, and now it's just adapting to the times and the market. What I'm trying to do now, Mike, is get into an even more niche down into linguistic validation, which is all the things that happen in the clinical trials. So you do an oncology clinical trial, you need all the questionnaires, the physician reviews, the cognitive debriefing, the all of that needs to be multilingual. It needs to be culturally adapted for the different countries, and that's those are quite complex linguistic projects. So I'm trying to specialize in that, and I've got a mentor who's helping me with that training, and that's something I think we'll see a lot more of in the years to come, linguistic validation.
Mhm. And I think there's more on that too, especially with the medical industry getting more complex throughout the world. We'll talk more about that with Jason Willis-Lee of Entrepreneurial Translators, Medical Translation and Editing, and also part of the translation group, medical Legal Translations. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion, and those who love you to first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews, and Evil Evan enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including theories, quiz of pains, and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David through Psalms he wrote as a time as a shepherd growing up, and complicate your turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also brought to you by Sensei Swing, Eric Diamond, was released All of Me, featuring I've Got a New Heartache, the title track, Bring Me Sunshine, Strike a Match, and more. Eric's a multi-award winning artist, inducted numerous Hall of Fames, album Entertainer of the Year, and released a new CD soon. Check out the amazing Eric Diamond today, ericdiamondmusic.com. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and all platforms worldwide. Check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. 40 podcast platforms, 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Follow us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, and more. For great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/me and Melson Great books, merchandise, and more. And support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with amazing niche translator, editor, proofreader, co-owner of Medical Legal Translations and Entrepreneurial Translators, Jason Willis-Lee, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And I think you had like about 2 or 3. And how do you manage the 2 or 3 and just combine them into one? I'm trying to figure out how do we get those into one here. So
You mean 2 or 3 activities?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so basically you have to kind of carve out time in the day, Mike. But I started out as a service provider. I then teamed up with a lawyer linguist, and I launched medical legal translation. So we'd work on a lot of autopsy reports, and I would do the medical part, he would do the legal part. And typically, Mike, these were Brits who were kind of bashed up in the Canary Islands and got into brawls, and and there was maybe an underlying pathology, and unfortunately, they passed away because of that. So, that kind of thing. And then I just evolved into coaching and consulting for my audience of freelance translators. So, yeah, I love the variety in my work, but essentially, I still translate and edit every day. That's the work I do first and foremost. I get up. I like the energy up here in the brain, not in the stomach. So I tend to do a few hours of work fasting, and then I take lunch a bit later on. But yeah, enjoying work at the moment, and it's interesting times. I mean, you can tell me where you are, the tariff situation and the kind of changes we're seeing and the kind of turmoil we're seeing in the global economy. It's just when Trump comes in, it's just a very interesting panorama that he brings us.
You talk about Trump with the changes that's upcoming and everything. Do you think, like with new leaders and the changing economy, how big of effect do you think it has with translations and the markets and everything else? You talk about with Trump coming in and having big change. How much a big change do you think when it comes to the translation industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. Well, I think, love Trump or hate Trump, and I'm not particularly a fan. He is a disruptive leader, so I love disruptive leadership. So I'll hat tip to him for that. I think in terms of the change in my industry, it does create a climate of people are less likely to invest, and uncertainty over the tariffs. And yeah, undoubtedly some people are making money because of the markets plunging and then buying, and then the markets go back again. Whatever comes down does go up. I think it creates a very tricky climate to navigate. So people, I think it depends on how wealthy you are, Mike. I think people at the top end of the spectrum, they don't really feel this at all. People at the bottom end, certainly the tariffs will increase the price of the products and household budgets. But I think from a business person's point of view, which is as the owner of a small business, I do worry about people's likelihood to invest, and that's something I don't want people to feel that they shouldn't invest in themselves to get for to move forwards faster. And that's something I'm big on investing. I work with a business mentor. I am mentor to other people, and that's something I would feel very unhappy about if this situation goes on for much longer. If people did feel less likely to invest, Mike.
And speaking of investing as well, too, you're getting into solopreneurship. That's like the new trend of entrepreneurships, LLCs, and everything like that. And this seems to fit pretty much what you're doing as well with the solopreneurship, and also working with translators and potential of AI and everything else.
That's right, Mike. So I think the trend is towards personal brands, solopreneurs, so one man band or one woman bands. I work with a lot of solopreneur freelancers, and that's the trend to go. People have a very lean team, very high leveraged, 5 or 6 hour day, very nice lifestyle business, sweet spot type of thing. I love, the morning shift, and then, this time of day is when I usually try and schedule podcast interviews or lighter admin work or sending invoices, whatever it is. But it is the trend. I think going from business brand into personal brand and leaning into the founder's values, the founder's hobbies, the founder's interest. What does that person stand for? These days, Mike, brand and trust are massive business assets, and if that doesn't come through on your website and your copy, it's very, very difficult to make sales these days.
Right, too. And of course, speaking of trust, branding, and everything else, especially with the medical industry, there's a lot of trust involved. And I hear these sad cases about one wrong word, one wrong move, one tiny mistake, and then you get sued like crazy. And of course, with the medical situation, you're dealing with like a number of linguistics, as we talked about earlier, validation and everything else. And how does that come to play? And what advice out there if someone's having trouble with like translating, certain words, certain languages, or say, would it be like, how do I say on this one? Like, in some countries it's okay to do this, but in some it's not okay to do that. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to ask here.
Yeah, absolutely. So accuracy in medicine is paramount. So I think you live in a more litigious society than I do. I think in America the medical legal scene is much more litigious than it is in Europe.
It's
There,
ridiculous. I'd say it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's also true in data privacy. I think we're perhaps more strict about data privacy. We have the GDPR, and you've got to be very, very careful before you can swipe someone's email and start marketing. You've got to be very careful. So I think, yeah, so a human, to answer your question, a medical translator or medical legal translator has to put accuracy first and foremost. So by all means, leverage the tools, but there has to be human oversight, I think. The tools will never be so good as they replace the human. And also, a four eyes is better than two eyes service, Mike. I love getting another pair of eyes on pieces of work, especially pieces that are published in academic journals. I love to get a second pair of eyes. Sometimes I've done this for internal documents, SOPs, that kind of thing. And big documents, 20, 30,000 word documents, I love getting a revisor onto those and just cleaning up any mistakes I may have made or just getting an enhanced quality product back out to the client, Mike.
Mm-hmm. And plus, having AI as well too with helping at that. Now, when it comes to like if you have like tapes or sound recordings and everything like that, do you think the AI is going to help with the sound recordings, especially if they're muddy, you have like low volume or especially distorted? That is the worst part of all. How much do you think AI is going to help, like, overcome the engineering deficiencies? Like, say you're listening to a recording, but it's buried in the background, like say crowd noise, or if it's underwater, if phones distorted, or anything like that. How much do you think AI is going to help on that part?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. So I'm not a sound engineer, but I can tell you that my interpreter colleagues are finding it increasingly difficult competing with AI, that AI is now producing competition that is quite stiff even for the interpreters. So I'm talking about simultaneous cabin interpreters at conferences. I don't know if you're familiar with the marketer Seth Godin. He was the founder of a company called Squidoo, which was sold to Yahoo. He said that there was a tool, an AI tool that could mimic his voice well enough that his wife couldn't tell the difference. And when I heard
Oh
this,
my goodness.
I nearly fell off my chair because if I could produce a voice that maybe this could open up all kinds of things. I might get into trouble for saying this, but I could so maybe fool my wife into thinking that I'm somewhere when I'm not, and all kinds of that. Then all hell breaks loose. So maybe you need to cut this bit out of the interview, Mike.
No,
But
no, not it's perfectly okay. I'm gonna say this. This is all just for fun. Don't worry about it. You can throw your voice out there. It's like this will give a whole new meaning to throwing your voice out there. So something that's like that's a trick you encourage everybody to use. It's just for fun, though. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. It's just for fun. I'm not suggesting anyone do that, but it just when Seth Godin said he'd seen a recording of his voice that his wife found difficult to discern from the real thing. It just struck me, Mike, how far we've come in technology terms and how good AI is. And I think it's only going to get better, Mike. It's just it's constantly reiterating. It's moving faster. The wave of tech change is moving faster than we can keep up with as humans, and that's a scary thing for someone like me who's has got some years on the clock to work. I'm just not even yet 50, not quite out of my 40s. That's a pretty scary thought, and I'm sure there are lots of people about my age listening in, wondering, where this conversation is heading in terms of tech.
Mhm. And of course, speaking of with jobs and everything like that, tech, AI, and everything else, you hear about the layoffs taking place. And I had someone on my show that predicted in 2030, or someone that said AI would cut out 40 to almost 40% of the workforce as well. And how do you teach people, like, with training and translations and everything? What are some of the recommendations for those wanting to get into translating, courses to take, schools, everything like that? What would be a first step for them to take in order to get into translations, if it's like affected by AI or not affected by AI?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question to ask me, Mike. I think number one, it's niching down. You have to have a niche. So if you're not in medicine, law, finance, you've got to pick a very big niche, and then within that, you've got to pick a micro niche. So I'm doing just this right now. I'm going into linguistic validation, which is a micro niche of medtran, medical translation. So a micro niche of law might be contract law. It might be contract law for sports people. These are micro niches within the niche. Number two is I think you have to collaborate with AI and not compete with it. So if you think AI is going to replace you and is your enemy, that's the wrong mindset. You've got to be willing to just step up and bat, and just start batting with AI as your collaborator, as your friend. And I use it every day, Mike. I mean, I use it for content creation, but I use ChatGPT. I have a customizable GPT. I look at Claude, and I'm kind of split testing the two. Is the paid GPT better than Claude? And I'm wondering, I'm trying to wonder where this conversation is going. Where is OpenAI going next? So niching down is the big one. Be friendly towards AI, and then just a third one would just be, yeah, just have a collaborative mindset. Don't think of if you do the personal branding correctly, Mike, you turn yourself into a market of one. It's like you're living in a castle, isolated with the moat full of crocodiles, and your competitors just can't get anywhere near you because you don't have any competitors. Your competitors are your referrers, your collaborators. If you get the personal branding right, you just make yourself a market of one, and you compete with no one but yourself. And that's the way
Mm-hmm.
you should think about this.
And of course, for someone that wants to get into a company, what are some of the companies that you recommend for getting to AI or translators, like with entry level, mid level, and everything? What are some companies you recommend, of course, besides yourself, or what are some of the schools, institutions that offer translation, especially those like even a 2 degree, 4 degree, or even like study from home? What are some of the sources that you would recommend for those who want to get into translation?
Yeah, so there's a couple of big companies. The big one in the UK is called RWS. That's in Buckinghamshire in the southeast of the country. I didn't mention professional associations, Mike. I think a very good plan is to affiliate yourself with a professional association. So for you who is stateside, that would be the ATA, the American Translators Association. For someone based in the UK, that would be the ITI, the Institute of Translating and Interpreting. So if you could just get membership with one of these professional outfits, they have lots of training. They have lots of training possibilities, or our own training. Entrepreneurialtranslator.com/direct clients. You'll find very nice training there, and just try and niche down. Be open to AI. Don't think that this is a dying profession. There are still translators making a living, and the ones who are surviving are those who are niche down, who are managing to cohabit with AI, and people who are open to mentorship and just doing things a different way, Mike.
That is a fantastic idea. And how do people get a hold of you? How do people, contact your websites? How do people inquire about your services?
Yeah, thank you. So the best way is LinkedIn. If you just type in Jason Willis-Lee, Willis-Lee, LinkedIn, or if you just type in entrepreneurial translator, you'll find my profile. So the website is entrepreneurialtranslator.com, entrepreneurialtranslator.com. When I chose that name, Mike, I didn't realize just how many vowels entrepreneurial has or how difficult it is to spell. But that is the essence of the business, teaching translators entrepreneurial skills.
And that's a challenge for everybody as well, too. And speaking of challenges, what's coming up for Jason Willis-Lee? We'll find out 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author, me and Wilson Missing, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, now on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and the Sultan of Swing, Eric Diamond, with all of me, ericdiamondmusic.com. We'll be back with multi-talent Jason Willis-Lee after this time out. We're back with the multi-talent Jason Willis-Lee of Entrepreneur Translators, and also solopreneur on the Mike Wagner Show with translators, medical, legal translations, and more. And what else can we expect in 2025 and beyond, Jason?
Oh, that's an amazing question, Mike. So next week, I'm actually heading to Cordoba for a Trimedica conference, which is translation into Spanish. There'll be a lot of colleagues into Spanish there. I'll be able to chat to linguistic validation companies. There's colleagues coming over from Saudi Arabia, from Canada. So that's a great networking opportunity. And then in June, I'm heading up to Newcastle for a content marketing event called Atomicon. and then hopefully I'll get some summer holiday. And then later in the year, in October, I'm heading over to Mulhouse for a medical translation event where I'm again talking about linguistic validation. And yeah, this is a real trend that I want to jump on in my industry, Mike. It's getting medical translators thinking optimistically about the future, forward thinking, not thinking negatively about AI, just working out what niche that they can move into. And this includes myself. So I was just leading, I'm trying to lead the thought here and just lead the way and just sort of, put a flag up and have people follow me. And I'm just optimistic about the future. I'm trying to stay positive, not really a negative thinker. I like to think of the glass as half full, and we'll see where life takes us, Mike.
And that sounds great. We're looking forward to it. And who do you consider biggest influence in a career?
Biggest influence in my career? That's an amazing question. I think I think emotionally, my wife gives me a grounding, and famously said to me once, I don't care how successful you are, you're still taking out the trash," which I did this week. But professionally, I've had mentors. I very much learn from different mentors, and I think you can. The mentor will never do the work for you, but they will encourage you to just to move along and just give you the strategies and having someone to bounce ideas off, especially in solopreneurship business, Mike, and it can be pretty lonely sometimes. There's so many different hats you have to wear, and there's so many. Today I was just putting out a lot of fires I didn't think would come up when I got up, and suddenly all these people, ask for your attention and things to put out. So yeah, I would think mentorship is find a good mentor, someone you like, like and trust. This is very, very important, and that'll come off the branding before you even meet them. You'll have a good idea of who you can trust, and yeah, those are probably the biggest influences, certainly in the last few years of my career, Mike.
And certainly amazing as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice I can give is keep going. Don't stop. If you stop, the only sure way to fail is if you stop and if you just quit. You just have to keep going. You just have to push through the obstacles. If business were easy, everyone would be doing it. Every single person would have a 6 or 7 figure business, which isn't the case. Just keep going. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't stop.
I think that's great advice as well. We're here with the multi-talented Jason Willis-Lee, entrepreneur translators and medical legal translations here on the Mike Wagner Show. Jason, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to him soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Or where can people check out your book and check out your services?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Mike. I hope to connect with people on LinkedIn or the website entrepreneurialtranslator.com. Thank you so much.
We'll certainly do that. Once again, Jason, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward and soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Jason, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Mike. All the best.